This is Leisha Holmes, and I'm your host on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. And it's always wonderful to welcome to our audience somebody from our community, somebody that's been listening like you listen now. And in fact, I think he might actually win a badge because he's listened to about half of our episodes avidly, which is a wonderful thing to know. He's nodding away on the camera. And now it's his turn to be welcomed to the guest seat today. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Robert Garner, who is the founder of Abstraction Labs. Welcome to you today. And he's also an avid gardener, I've just been finding out. Welcome to you today, Rob. How are you?
No, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm good. I'm tired. I'm absolutely knackered. As I said, I'm really like totally re-gutting the garden at the moment. So yeah, I spent like the days, like these hands are normally like just at the keyboard. They're normally just there at my keyboard. But today, like they're rough.
It's good.
No,
It's good. I think it's good to do. It's good to do something that is allows creativity, allows you to. It's a great stress relief. I'm actually a terrible gardener, and when I sold my family home and I moved after my divorce, I bought a garden. It's a little cottage garden. It just needs little plants. It doesn't need to be mowed or anything like that. So I'll leave that to the likes of you. Now we've got to know each other on LinkedIn, of course, and seemingly you're a great fan of the show, which is wonderful. But there'll be plenty of people that don't yet know who you are, and you have got, I would describe, quite an eclectic background because you've done media, you've been a developer, you're a recruiter, and now you kind of brought it all together. So I won't do it justice. Tell us a little bit about your career path and how you've formed your business.
I bounced around a bit. Yeah, I used to work in media. You used to work at PFJ.
I worked at Farah Jones,
yeah. I used to know Paul over there back in the day.
Paul Farah, he hired me. So Paul Farah, if you ever listen, I don't know if you do, but if you do listen, Paul,
he spends a lot of time was he in Hong Kong now? He spends a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, he bought Aspire Group, sort of acquired lots of businesses. I mean, I've not seen Paul Farah since before I set up Keybridge.
In all fairness, I haven't seen him since about 2000. I think about 2019 was the last time I saw him. He was doing like an influencer marketer event. And he had who's that influencer guy, Casper something?
Oh, right. I don't know. Can't be that influential if I don't know it.
It was like one of the original kind of influencers from back in the day, one of the original YouTube influencers.
Right.
Yeah, an event with him, and I went along to that. And we were kind of chatting and stuff like that. But no, lovely bloke, and obviously started up one of the biggest media recruitment companies. But anyway, enough about Paul. But my background is I started in media, advertising sales, selling advertising space to recruitment agencies. So literally selling, it was like print and kind of online job ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you front the recruitment agencies, like legal recruitment companies, and like, hey, you're on a full page in our magazine, it's coming out, and then literally, a week or two before we get a press, they'd send like the job ad with, a lawyer and solicitor and a paralegal, that kind of stuff. Then you put it in the magazine and obviously send it out to all these kind of legal students and kind of newly qualified solicitors. But I started doing that and then moved.
Can we just say, for a lot of our audience, that will be something that don't appreciate. The cost of these adverts was really expensive. So you had to be a very influential.
I think for a page, it was about £2,500 off the top of my head. So one page was £2,500.
Yeah.
Used to be the Guardian Media jobs, the newspaper. The supplement came out on a Thursday, and my old media recruitment company would take out a little kind of like advert in that, and it would cost an absolute fortune. But on that day, you had people phoning you up, and I just saw your advert in Guardian Media jobs. Yeah, we've got any jobs on, blah, blah, blah. So it really did work. And
wow,
you could see the actual return on investment on that Thursday when it came out. You'd have 20 phone calls literally on that day. So it's amazing.
Yeah. I needed to pause in time because I come from that era, and I don't think people appreciate just what an impact that model of attraction of candidates had on everybody, on your industry and on our industry as well. So you did that. That was obviously a very successful part of your journey.
Yeah, and then I went into, I was sent into legal recruitment companies, and some of them said, "Oh, do you want to go into kind of recruitment?" I'm probably one of the few people in recruitment that went into it by choice. So I went into recruitment, ended up working for a media recruitment company called. Do you know Rupert Wallace? You had Rupert Wallace on, didn't you?
Oh gosh, I did know him. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. That can't have been that long ago. Maybe about 4 months ago or so. But so he was my old boss, and then he ended up taking the company over from a guy called Hugh Jocelyn, who had I think he had a financial recruitment company. He sold that and he started off media contacts.
Was that Jocelyn Rowe?
Jocelyn Rowe. I think he might be Jocelyn Rowe. Yeah.
And Rupert was on. It was. I think I recorded him possibly the back end of last year. Yeah, he was brilliant.
He was talking about the management buyout. I think.
He was a very, very good guest, actually.
Yeah, he's, do you know what, an amazing recruitment trainer, like really good at it's just a very like consultative, very laid back kind of sense of a style of selling, which suited that industry, that kind of media industry and the conference industry really well. So learned a few things with him, but obviously I eclipsed him, became even better. And then
Obviously.
I know, and then well, then the financial crisis hit, and then I ended up, I think about half the company got let go.
Right.
I did commission only recruitment for a little bit, which was tough in the recession.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, and then
Hardcore.
I ended up working for a company called Moriarty that did a lot in kind of digital, like digital advertising. So I worked for them for a few years, and then set up my own company, Media Square, for about 6 years. Had a few people working for me, and then ended up moving in. Oh, I had a job board actually for a little bit as well. I was trying to launch a job board.
Right. Okay.
So I had a job board.
A general job board, or was it very niche?
So it's a media specific job board.
Specific. Okay.
Yeah, I set up with so a business partner of mine called Ben. He's like the CTO at like a fintech now, and another guy who works over at Lloyd's. He's a database guy at Lloyd's. We kind of set it up together. But yeah, we just couldn't get the traction. Like the SEO just wasn't there. Like it was so hard competing against like Reed and Total Jobs and CW Jobs and all those kind of job boards, and it was just so hard to get the traction on kind of Google and stuff. So after about a year or so, we packed it in, and then I moved in house. Used to work for News UK. News UK is like the Sunday Times, the Sun,
right,
Street Journal, Talksport, HarperCollins, got loads of kind of big brands.
Right, okay.
I worked for an ad agency doing in-house, and then I switched into software development.
Yeah, so this was, you went from doing recruitment into being a software. So did you already have that interest? Were you already kind of?
Yeah, so my stepdad was so he was like a head of IT and head of music at secondary school as well. And then my dad had like a small like computer manufacturing business for a little bit as well with a couple of his friends, like years ago in the 80s when it's still kind of taking off. So there was always like computers and stuff around the house, and we'd go down to like, basically it's kind of weird. You used to go down to these like car parks, and there'd be all these guys with like this set up selling like computer parts, and you buy like pretty kind of like
build your own.
I know, it's pretty weird. But so yeah, but I moved away from that, ended up going to sales and recruitment, and then kind of came back into it. And then I used to work for Mercury till it won Mercury, the recruitment CRM.
Yeah, of course.
Kendrick over there, who runs it, great guy, absolutely brilliant guy. Really good recruitment CRM as well, kind of like a hiring kind of enterprise kind of recruitment agency. And then left there. And then
were you on the actual technical side?
Yeah. So I was helping. We were doing the two-way integration with LinkedIn. So I think there's only like maybe 15 companies in the world that do a two-way integration with LinkedIn, and it's like super complex. It's absolutely,
I bet it is.
But yeah, there was like a whole team of us. We spent like a good year working on that. But and I was working on the candidate and the client portals as well. So yeah, software development, front end, back end, matrix code, all that kind of stuff coming down the computer screen. So, yeah.
Goodness me. I mean, God, you're I mean, talk about eclectic. You can see why I introduced you in that way. So how did Abstraction Labs come to be, and what do you actually do?
So one of the reasons I started, basically recruitment websites are rubbish for the most part, but not everyone's, but a lot of them. And when I had my old recruitment agency, Media Square, I had my friend Ben that did my website for me, and he did an absolutely brilliant job, and it used to rank like top spot for every related search term. So you put in like media recruitment agency London, media recruitment agency London, Soho, UK, whatever. They always ranked the top spot, and we'd write these
gosh.
They'd outrank like Time Out and GQ and all these kind of stuff. But they did an absolutely brilliant job, and I was like, I'd love to kind of replicate that and just make websites that look really good and are technically really good and just perform really well and bring in clients and candidates for the agencies. So that's kind of why I went into it, and that's what I'm trying to achieve at the moment. And I think, we're kind of doing that. So yeah, I'm happy.
No, wow. And I mean, the reason I wanted that whole kind of biography is because you've seen all sides of it. And there's actually very few people, I think, in recruitment marketing for recruitment websites that actually understand the technical side of it, the client side of it, the how to advertise, the mentality of what we're trying to achieve. You've been a recruiter, you've done the job. And I think it's absolutely remarkable. It really is. So very, very keen to kind of educate. Now, you made a scathing remark there, but there might be some truth in that, possibly. If you go and look at keyrecruitment.com, I'm always getting messages off website companies.
Oh no, I'll give you a free audit, right? I can give you a free audit.
Would love you to, definitely. Only Robert's allowed to do one, guys, if you're watching this and then think, I want to be bombarded. So why do you think it's important, and I'm not being really facetious here, I'm being really serious, with so much of our focus on LinkedIn, for example, why is it important to still have, if it's leaders we're talking to make sure we've got a good window, I suppose, which is what the website is, for potential customers? And have you got any sort of top tips if people maybe are on a budget? Because at the moment, a lot of companies are a bit shoe-strapped for investment.
No, it's so hard to sell anything at the moment. Everyone's just looking for cash. So, but no, I'd say, I mean, there's so many good template website builders out there. I know there's a few kind of specialist ones, but if you're on a budget, I think companies like Wix, Squarespace, Duda, GoDaddy, they're absolutely brilliant options. Like, they do really good technical stats for their websites. They're really easy to get up and running. You can jump on YouTube. There's loads of YouTube tutorials that kind of talk you through these things. So don't be scared of them. Like, you could honestly do them yourself. So if you are on a budget, you just start your agency, GoDaddy, Squarespace, Wix, Duda. Those are the go-to ones I can recommend, and they're going to cost you probably about £20 to £25 a month, and that's for your hosting as well. You can add your kind of email address in there as well, but they're really good options. WordPress websites as well. You have to be a little bit careful because they do take a lot of maintenance, because they have all these kind of plugins, these little bits of code that kind of put in that are kind of written by other developers. You have to kind of keep these little things kind of updated. So if you do go for a WordPress website, they're a good option as well, but make sure they kind of continue updated and maintained. Otherwise, hackers can basically just hack into your website and into.
Oh God, that sounds really stressful.
And all the information that candidates obviously send, like really sensitive information for your website. You know, they've got their CV that's got obviously their name, their
contact information. Yeah, of course.
And sometimes their passport details or visa details or things like that.
We're breaching a lot of GDPR here, guys, so maybe avoid that.
No, they're all really good options. I do something a little bit. I use this thing called Angular that Google uses, Firebase that Google uses, but they're really good kind of entry level websites to kind of go in there as well, really. But
And I really like your integrity, actually. See, you just said there that at the moment, as we record this at the end of, or middle of spring, I suppose, of 2024, it has been a very challenging market. And, you know, when I'm speaking to leaders and we're talking about, you know, potential areas where they could invest, I think the two things that tend to go to the bottom of the priorities tend to be learning and development and marketing. Now, I personally believe those are the two most important things you should be investing in when it's a tough market, because you should be focusing back in on the people. What can we do to improve? What can we do to develop them? What training areas and what gaps do they have? So you should be doubling down on the people that you have on the training and development. And I think you should be doubling down on your marketing. Now is your time to do it. Why would you do it in a boom market?
This kind of market, I'd be pushing training. I'd be pushing recruitment training, like hands down. And I'd be really pushing BD. I kind of grew up in my first job was basically like a boiler room. It's the kind of place where you had to like stand up. You couldn't sit down until you made a sale. They'd feed you with like alcohol and everything else under the sun. So it's a hardcore environment. And I'm a big fan of kind of BD. And I think there's some great BD trainers out there. You know, you've got kind of Kate O'Neill and is it Claire Migsy, and there's the whole bunch. So many so many other people out there. But I'd really push that kind of BD training at the moment. And also, I know it's tough and budgets are tight, but I've kind of put money into marketing as well. I mean, these things are gonna. If you're, people still search for jobs on Google, on Yahoo, on Bing, and you've still got HR professionals, HR managers, hiring managers, TA teams using Google and stuff like that to search for companies. And if you're cropping up in those top 3 search kind of results, it's like 95% of people will choose one of those results on the first page. Only 5% of people go through to that second page of Google. So you need to be on that first page of Google. I think it's like 50% of people click on the first 3 kind of links. So you really need to be in that. If you're pushing for that, you will see clients and candidates coming in on a daily basis. People will find your details online and they will send you their CV or their job briefs. And it's going to pay for itself. I mean, you do one placement, that's 4, 5, 6, 7 grand. You can get a really good website for that as well. It's going to return itself instantly. And
that's just one placement. And it wasn't a contrived question. I think it's really important to hear it.
I get it all the time. So I totally understand.
And we, we understand that, we're small business owners ourselves. You've grown and sold businesses, and you understand the mindset of a recruitment leader right now. It's a terrifying place to be. We're on the back end of the cost of living, which impacted business owners. There's been a lot, a hike in expenses on things like job boards, LinkedIn, where you have to use these tools potentially as a recruitment leader. We understand that. Salaries, maybe people aren't billing as much as they were 2 years ago. But all I'll say to you is this: if you've been in recruitment for a significant period of time, that we're going cycles. And that I'm not saying 2022 heights, because actually it was a frenzy, but we will go into a cycle again where you will have inbound business, and you're almost like going, whoa, we don't need anybody else to ring us. But this is the time now to be pushing out your good case studies, your testimonies, and really focusing in. I personally think bringing in the right talent that wouldn't be on the market in a boom market. It's the three areas of where people tend to go, right, we're just going to, batten down the hatches. We're not going to spend any money. It's like, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's not.
I know it's tough to do it, but you have to invest into the business. I know it's scary, and you're like, do you know what? If I invest this money now, am I going to be able to survive another 3 months? And that bit of money can survive for another 3 months. But at the same time, you might need to go 6 months, and that bit of money invested now could last you that 6 months for the return to get. So I totally understand it. It's tricky. I've been there as a business owner and as a recruitment agency owner, and sometimes it's easy to get scared and be like, oh, okay, this is the amount of money I have in my bank account, and I've got these 6 consultants. It's tough, and you don't want to let any of those people go. Someone's had a baby, someone's got 2 kids. Like, it's horrible. I totally understand that, but sometimes you just have to invest in it and take a risk. And we're all risk takers, all the people that watch this. If you've got a recruitment agency or whatever it is, and you work in recruitment, you're ambitious, you're a risk taker. So I agree. Into it.
And you can be strategic about it, and speak to suppliers. I mean, if I've got a startup business or a business that I know has gone through a very challenging time, and they want to take somebody on, charge them about a payment program. I'll say, well, look, we have a 12-week rebate, so pay me on 3 invoices over the 12 weeks. We'll break the payments down. I think if you have a reasonable mindset that that this is something you need to do for your business, it's really nice to hear it from the other side of the coin. Now, what people do seem to be spending a lot of focus on is getting into podcasts. Now, obviously, you're talking to me on mine. I've been going for 4 years. And I wonder, and I know you're an avid podcast fan yourself, and I don't know if you want to share any other people that you listen to, but I think it's possibly a really good place to start to connect to people. I think that's possibly how you and I connected, because you'd noticed a glitch from going on my website.
I went to your website once, and there was
you did. The server had gone down, and I went back in the chat to check. What do you think makes a good podcast show? And if people are thinking of launching one, what do you think they should do? Because it's a much more congested market than it even was 4 years ago. It's becoming bonkers, but it's not going anywhere, I don't think, podcast.
No, I think it's a good tool, and I know loads of people that. So one of the dads at Olivia's school, who does he run? He runs like a big, huge recruitment agency, a big international recruitment. I feel really bad. His name's Pete Rabian. I don't know who. Yeah, so he runs.
It's fine. We can tag him when we share the episode.
Yeah, he has a podcast and stuff like that, and I listen to some of it. He gets some amazing guests. Some actually like huge, like director level kind of, C-suite people on there. But I personally love listening to like people's stories. I think it really, maybe as a developer and an avid kind of learner, I like to kind of hear people's other kind of lived experiences. What they're finding works for them at the moment, kind of software they're using. I spend a lot of the time kind of just sitting there coding as well. So it's nice to have something in the background. Like there's certain parts of my coding where I do need to concentrate and I'll turn it off. But there's a lot of things where I'm going to have something in the background. It's nice to have a bit of company there. But no, there's so many good ones. I think I did a blog post online. There's like 40 podcasts I kind of like dipping out of. And I kind of put together. I think it sends like 45 in the end. But there's so many out there. And I think it is a great tool for like engaging. If you want to engage with your audience, it's a brilliant tool. And I suppose you probably use the tool as well to kind of reach out to recruitment agencies and kind of engage with them.
Is that for us? It's the other way around, because we're candidate led. But if we have a guest on who is a leader of one of our clients, which often happens, it's not all the time. It's probably about 20% of the time it's a client of ours. And if a candidate of ours is going to meet them for an interview, we send the podcast episode, because then they go, do you know what? That is it gives us such a great feel for that person, because it is about. That's why we do the intro. I want you to do the intro. I want you to tell us about your story, because everybody's story is different. I think podcasts are an amazing invention. I wish they'd been around when I was a new recruiter, or just, even as a young person, just because, I mean, I love history shows. I like nutrition and well-being shows. I very rarely actually listen to music now, unless I'm in the car with my daughters, because I just feel it's like, even if I'm doing something else, I might be, doing my plan for the week on a Sunday, I might be going for a walk, I might be, messaging a candidate to arrange something, I'll have a podcast on.
Yeah.
And it's there in the background.
It kind of comes with age, and you're obviously still very young, so don't get me wrong here, but I think it comes with age as well.
I think I might be a bit older than you, actually.
Oh, well, I'll give you a run for the money, but well, you look younger anyway. But
thank you.
I think it comes with age as well. You kind of like, you want to learn more as well as you get older. You kind of have that, like, you get to university, whatever it may be, or school, you're like, oh, I have to learn this stuff. But as you get older, you want to learn more. And I think podcasts are a great way to kind of, self-develop yourself.
Have you got a podcast?
I don't have a podcast. No, I should have a podcast maybe. No,
I don't have
do it.
Do you not?
Someone will come on there anyway. Not popular.
Of course they would. You could. I just think. I think.
Well, you probably spend like, how long you said you'll spend a whole today, and that's what, maybe 6 episodes. So that's going to keep you going.
It's been today's 6 episodes, so it's 6 weeks. Although, as you know,
then working out, looking into someone's background, and then working out.
Oh yeah,
so
the questions.
It's not just the day of doing filming. It's also another couple of days or few days.
Yeah, it's probably that's why I record once a month, because then it's done. But for preparation and research into guests, and then the questions is probably half a day, and then the actual recording date is a whole day, and then I pass it over to Shannon and Nicola, my production team. Shannon is actually my recruiter as well, and that takes them. I think they now have got it down to each episode, probably with the production and everything, probably takes about an hour. So it's quite maybe an hour and a half, and then obviously we market it out. So, and to be honest with you, I think, if you're still listening to this and it does interest you, I don't do the show to generate revenue. I don't do the show to try and create some sort of ROI on my time spent, which sounds ridiculous, because everything else that I do look at ROI. I do this because I genuinely love it. I genuinely enjoy speaking to people that I probably never would get to talk to otherwise. And because I really believe in adding something back to the industry that I absolutely love being an ambassador for. And I know that from the feedback I get, because every single guest that I've had on today, including you, is a listener, which just makes me so proud. So that's 6 people out of 6 that have all said, yeah, I've listened. Some have listened from the start, and I'm like, wow.
When did you start? It must be like
2020.
Lockdown.
It was a lockdown baby. In fact, on my Facebook memories, I can see the first few ones now. Every sort of April, May, I see, oh, there we go. That was just here, there, and everywhere. There was no strategy. But I would say, if I was starting out now, if I was listening to this episode now, thinking I really should pull my finger out my arse, you can do it on a shoestring. You don't need to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, you probably need. I'd probably put a bit of money into a nice microphone and
yeah. Although I did that. I did do that. It's a bit. I have those big phallic ones.
I think they're all a bit phallic, aren't they? But there's one called Blue Yeti. Someone recommended.
That's the one I've got. That's the one Sean
uses. That's the one. That's the go-to. You can normally get them for like 70, 80 quid. So get one of that, and then the actual arm. Get the arm as well. Otherwise, it bounces around on the desk. So get the arm, and then.
That's what I used to find, that it was like bouncing, and because I don't use it, I come to a different place now.
What are we on now? On the laptop speaker.
Laptop and AirPods.
Okay, fair enough then.
I was using my big Beats, but then I just found that every time I look back on video, it just looked a bit stupid. I just looked like I was off skiing or snowing somewhere. So I love that you've shared. I mean, this has been a really personal podcast, and I think your audience and your customers are probably going to be similar customers to mine. It's all going to be recruitment leaders. Mate. What do you think what's the biggest factor going into the second half of 2024 that leaders should be thinking about now, when it comes specifically to marketing, and why they should be double downing on this?
Your website. Buy a new website from me. That is what you should be. No, I'm joking. No. You should be. I'd say. I think the market. Hopefully, there's kind of like green shoots like coming through now.
Yeah, I think so.
From what I kind of see around, from the conversations I'm having and what I see on LinkedIn, there seems to be some green shoots, and the economy seems to be kind of stabilizing. So I think that's all kind of good signs. I'd still be kind of pushing BD. I wouldn't get kind of complacent. I wouldn't get kind of lazy. And it's one of those kind of, I guess, lessons you kind of learn and then forget about over time when times do get really good again.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in touch with your clients. I really love events as well. I'd always go to events as well. Like people doing. I was thinking about getting a ticket to your event in Birmingham.
Yes. Where are you?
Yeah. I'm South London, so but the Mercury used to be based in Coles Hill.
Oh yeah. Coles Hill's not far from there. Well, it's nearer than our Manchester. Our Manchester event would have been even further, but
I know I saw that. I just couldn't do it.
When this goes out,
it's a 5-hour journey.
Oh no! Oh bless you. That's really kind. We would love to see that. We've got. I mean,
was it June the 7th? Sorry, June the 8th.
June the 7th, Friday, June the 7th, 4 till 6. It's a Friday. Hopefully it'll be sunny, and we have got the most incredible panel, including Darren from our sponsor Paiger. We've got the most eclectic leaders. Yeah. And it's going to be all around how to create your best high performing self. And actually that applies to recruiters, leaders, marketers. We're going to be hearing from people, not just recruiters. We've got Katie Maycock as well. We're going to talk about well-being. So it'll take people on a journey. And if when this episode goes out, there are still tickets available, we would love to see that, because every penny, we're not talking profits here, we're talking every penny from the £20 goes to Birmingham Children's Charity. So we're very passionate about being, socially aware as a business and as a pod. So thank you for mentioning that. Or maybe, we'll see you there. And I always think it's so nice to be coming up.
I need to kind of get out. I've kind of missed a couple of events recently. So yeah, there was like I think it's the Reconnect Martin one tomorrow that I kind of wanted to go to, but I've been stuck doing this gardening thing. And I was like,
oh, so every excuse, Rob. Well, and if you haven't ever been to the Recruitment Agency Expo, I'm sure you have. The Recruitment Agency Expo.
But then my wife was away. She was this like VC, and they basically took all the staff away and this retreat to Portugal and this 5-star hotel and stuff. So I was looking after. I've got a little dog called Bear working lab, so I was like babysitting and dog sitting duty. So I popped in for a few hours and then said hello to a few people I knew, then disappeared off. But no, I didn't get a chance to go to the drinks. I think Brett Wyatt when we do the drinks, don't they? It's like
right. Yeah, no, we were there. It was a good event, and it's a great event. And unfortunately,
that one was a lot better than most of them I've been to in years.
It was very enjoyable.
Maybe since like 2012, 13, 14, and that was a really good one. Yeah,
no, it was really, and it's always down to the caliber of the guests, caliber of the speakers, the people that you know there as well. I think I went to the one in Birmingham.
Walking around, had a good kind of vibe.
Well, I think that whilst it's been a challenging market, I think people know that we're probably through the worst economically now, and it has been for a couple of years. It's the reality is for most recruitment businesses, we've gone through post-COVID boom, and then a bit of a rocky period, and then 2023 for most people was quite challenging, and then the start of this year hasn't necessarily. It's been that W that James Osborne talked about in 2020, that he said, oh, we'll have this W in 2021, and we didn't. We just had this boom, and this is now what we're seeing, and I think it will level out. I think that that's what all the figures from the REC, which James and Neil Carberry was at the expo, and he showed the data that's what's showing. And so our industries are so wedded, when people are feeling confident about the market and the economy, they feel more confident to spend money on marketing, what they see as non-essentials. Whereas the reason I wanted to invite you on is because we should be investing in these things as essentially as we invest in tech, as we invest in the recruiters sat there, as we invest in the furniture and the laptops that we use. Everything's
living entities. You need to invest into them. You can't just treat your recruit business as a cash cow. And it's easy to look at that position before, where you look at your bank account. Oh, goodness, this is amazing. And you're going out to commissioning meals, and you're going out a year and stuff like that. It's really easy to fall into that, and I'd advise against it, and always try and be conservative, and always try and invest in. Try and go like, I'm going to take 10% and put it into tech, and
absolutely
BD training or whatever it may be, and always going to do that. And even when times are really good, still invest back into your training and your marketing. I agree. And the recruitment industry, I think it's a little bit outdated, especially now as a sober person, but it's a champagne and razor blade industry. But in order to create a bit more of a level playing field, just keep that consistency. It's been a really great message, Rob, and I'm going to let you get back to your gardening now, although you might want to take off your lovely shirt and jumper. Not literally now. My father-in-law's out there at the moment doing it. He's literally laying the paving stones.
It sounds lovely. Let's have a look. Where's Bear?
Oh, but she's out there somewhere. running around. But anyway.
Probably, yeah, I was going to say, oh, very good. I like the delegation. That was exceptional. Thank you so much for joining us on the Recruitment Podcast.
All right, see you around.